forgot to share this anywhere today. It's been a trip. My goodness.
It's okay. I shared it. We'll probably get my husband and my mother-in-law
Woo!
joining in.
Hey, the more the merrier, I'm just gonna go
That is right.
pop this on here without all the stuff from my stuff. We're live. We are live.
Yay.
Woo!
Hello.
Hey, Allie. Already got some people trickling in. Of course, as always, guys that are watching, if you have any questions, just toss them in the comments below or wherever you happen to see the live comments, and I will ask them on air. If you cannot post to YouTube for whatever reason that YouTube is being mean to you today, you can tweet them out to me. You can DM me on Instagram. You can comment to the post for author chat on Instagram. You can ask your questions wherever, and I will find them. I'm going to move this pillow. That's jabbing me in the back. Okay, so we are going to get going. So we are here today with the author of Now and When, Sara Bennett Wealer. And I'm
Hey,
so
everybody.
happy that everybody this week has had such easy names to pronounce.
Oh,
I cannot say that
good.
enough. This book is so good. I actually
Oh,
started rereading part of it this morning, and I was sitting down waiting for the girls to get off a ride, and I got to one part in it where she's scrolling through the reunion things after she started looking up herself, and that one little thing in there with this guy that she hates, on what she realizes that she's not just with him, but something else that I won't mention. And I'm just like,
yeah.
here as soon as the music is down, and I'm like, holy shit. Of course everybody heard it and they're just kind of looking at me, and I was like,
That's good. You tweeted about it, and I was like, I
yeah,
hope you're swearing in a good way.
that was awesome, because it's kind of like you kind of expect it, but you kind of
Yeah.
don't. So it was just like one of those moments that was like, oh crap, you know, that's funny. It's so funny. I love the banter that these two have with each other. I decided to
Thank
restart it
you.
because I was zooming through it yesterday, and I was in 98-degree weather, and by the time we got ready to leave, it was over 100, and I was just completely brain dead. So I was like, I'm gonna restart
Yeah.
this because this book is too good to zoom through, and I want to take my time.
Oh,
So
thank
I'm going to
you.
be reading it. So,
Well,
oh, good.
there's a funny story about things being funny in this book because I don't know if you want me to ramble now, but
Go for it.
when I wrote it, I started writing it, just life was going on as normal. And not to be a womp womp, but right as I was kind of getting into it, both of my parents passed away. And it was kind of crazy. They died within about a week of each other. So
Oh,
it was really kind
wow.
of, my life kind of got thrown into a tailspin. And writing has always been kind of my way of keeping my equilibrium and helping me deal. So I kept writing while I was dealing with, funerals and estates and just grieving. And then I sent the book off to my agent, and she sent it out. And Wendy Logia, who decided to buy it, said, we like it, but it needs a rewrite. This is like a rom-com trying to break free. And right now it's just really heavy. And so I waited and I got the editorial letter, and I started going through page by page on their notes. And all their notes were like, why is this so sad?
Oh,
Why is she crying right now? Like and then I saw it through a different light, and I was like, oh my gosh, it was so tied down with grief. And so it was kind of cool because then I rewrote it. I was in a better place. And then the fun came out, I'm glad to hear that it has some funny parts because, it was like a transformation for me to kind of come from there to being
right.
light and writing something that's a little more fun, right?
Oh,
Kind of out of all that.
no. So this is not your first book, right? This is not your first book.
No,
No.
right,
So
right.
tell us a little bit about you, your other titles, and how you ended up becoming an author.
Yeah. Well, I am a daughter of an English teacher, so that kind of I think I just kind of, writing was always kind of in my blood. But growing through high school, I was also involved in theater and singing. And I actually majored in opera in college for a little while, and realized pretty quickly that I wasn't going to make it as an opera singer. So I switched to journalism and was a newspaper reporter for a while. And that also, it became clear after doing that for a few years that wasn't really what I wanted to do. And then I started working on fiction. And so my first book was called Rival, and it kind of pulled in my knowledge of music and some of, not really the experiences I had in high school, but kind of my memory of what it was like to be in a competitive music environment in high school. That was my first book. It was called Rival. It came out in 2011 with Harper Teen, and it was about two girls who were best friends, but now they're enemies, and then they end up having to compete in this big music competition. And then yeah, I'm not sure it's in print anymore. It's been a while, but my second book is called Rush, and that I really had fun writing that. That was more about sorority rush and kind of intertwining 4 stories of 4 girls who are going through and the rush experience. And that kind of tied a little bit on my experiences from college. Nothing that I write is about things that have happened to me, but I get these sparks of ideas from those things, if that makes sense.
Right.
And that came out online with Bloomsbury Spark. And then this is my third book, my third traditionally published book, Now and When.
Yeah, that's why it looks familiar. I have that book.
Oh, there you go. You have it. It's behind me. Like,
it's somewhere around here. But I'm like,
yeah,
familiar. And I'm like, oh, I know that cover.
Right. So anyway, right. And and then I think I'll have a 4th book coming. I'm not sure when, but I just got my editorial letter on that one, and that's going to take a lot of work too, but it'll be fun.
So what did you play in music? Was it piano or?
I was a singer.
Oh, you're okay, singer. Okay.
I did play piano, but singing was my thing, and I was in all the choirs, and it was just, I think a lot of kids who are into drama and performing in high school, it's kind of fraught. There's a lot of drama sometimes, and it's wonderful. I have wonderful memories of it, obviously, because it kind of sparked the idea for a book. But
right.
And then I tried to be an operatic soprano, and I realized in college that's not going to work.
It's hard.
I don't have it in me.
It's hard. From a fellow soprano, I feel your pain.
So were you in like choir and I mean you know that world?
Oh yeah. Choir was
and the music
jam.
and the musical and all that. We
didn't do a lot of musicals, or we never did musicals or anything like that. But I did love choir. Mm-hmm. When we moved back to Ohio from Florida, because I grew up down here. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, hey, we can put you in choir, but we have to take you out of PE for this semester. I'm like, that's okay.
Yeah. No problem.
Yes. No problem at all.
And some of the music, I mean, it's pretty, I was in the show choir. And so every day I was, dancing, the choreography. And I'll tell you what, the marching band kids, they don't need to be in PE. They're getting a ton. Right. I just think music, there should be a letter for kids in music. It's it's physical and it's artistic and
it's just all.
Can't say enough about. Yeah.
Well, our viewers are saying that they are so sorry for your loss, for your parents.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you.
That's hard. That's hard. I mean, losing one parent is bad enough, but losing both of them in such a short amount of time, I can't even imagine.
Yeah. No, you can't imagine until it happens, and you kind of you get through it the way I don't even know what to say about it. And I don't tell that story to try to get sympathy, but it was kind of interesting. You never really come out on the other end of grieving that, but when someone shows you through the lens of something you created when you're going through that, it is interesting to look at it and see, oh my gosh, I channeled so much of that into this, that I wasn't even aware that it was happening.
Right.
But then I did a huge rewrite, and it turned lighter, it turned funnier, and I'm happier with it. So
it's so good. Love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I hope everybody else likes it too.
Let's see here. So you do contemporaries. Is your next book going to be a
Mm-hmm.
contemporary as well?
It is, and so I'll just tell it. It is a contemporary, but I feel like Now and When has a little touch of, I don't know if you'd call it magical realism, but there's that little bit of something like the time travel thing is in
Mm-hmm.
there. And
Ooh.
then this book is also having a little something like that in there. And it's about a girl who grows up in a funeral home,
Oh,
a
wow.
family-owned funeral home. And so I've just been doing a rewrite on that, and a little something like that, not time travel, but a little something something is coming in there too. So I guess I'm carving out this thing where it's contemporary, but there's a little something happening on the side. Does that
Hey,
make
that
sense?
that works. Yes, it
That
does.
ties
There is a
in.
series out that was out, I don't even know how long ago, called Burn for Burn. And it is like full on contemporary. And then just all of a sudden, like this paranormal aspect gets added into it. And it's just so
Yeah.
seamlessly done that it's like
Yeah.
if you would have just walked around the corner and you saw this happen, it would just fit so much. And I am like, I put my computer up on books so I wouldn't accidentally pull the cord again, and now they don't wanna stay.
Okay.
It's like, "Stay."
Oh,
It's
that's
so it's, like,
okay.
sliding everywhere. My goodness. So, do you have to do a lot of research for your books?
Um, Not so much. I think I have been doing some for this book that I'm working on now. I actually, because I was a newspaper reporter, I got exposed to a lot of different things like I got the idea for the family-owned funeral home because I had done a story about that years ago. That doesn't mean that I know everything I need to know, but I have had to do some research to just make sure, um, you know, just that I'm being as accurate as I can, and I plan to do more. And for like Now and When, I didn't, and for Rush and Rival, I mean, I wasn't writing about the world that I had experienced, but I was writing about kind of a world that I knew, if that makes sense.
Right.
So I didn't really need a lot of research on those.
That comes in handy because if you already know what you're writing about, way less stuff to do. So
Exactly. Yeah.
So I love Now and When. Like seriously, I love this. And I love the whole aspect of, like for somehow her phone has and her very crappy phone has kind of like gone to the future by accident
Yeah.
and she's seeing all this stuff. How did you come up with the idea for all of this?
So to keep in the time travel theme, like a little bit of the past and a little bit of the present. So this spark for it was I have this memory of this relationship that I had in high school, and it wasn't a romance, and I think I was the bigger jerk. I was probably really the jerk in the relationship, but I just remember there, somebody that was in my classes all the time, and we would do this debating back and forth. Kind of how the book Now and When opens up was kind of based on that feeling that I would have, like just being really frustrated, but also really enjoying this kind of back and
Right.
forth. And then now in the present, now social media is allowing us all to kind of reconnect with everybody. And I just kind of had this thought, like, if I had told 17-year-old me who was just sitting in class being frustrated with a classmate, that I could somehow look into the future and see that I was having some sort of a relationship with this classmate, how would I respond? Like, what would I do? And that's kind of where it all started. Just this idea that you can feel a certain way in a moment, and but if you get a chance to see where that ends up, you might be surprised. I don't know. That makes sense.
It's like when I first started reading this, I'm like, oh God, because I love Outlander and a lot of other, stuff that deals with time travel and stuff. And I'm like, okay,
Mhm.
please, girl, don't do anything to screw up your future.
Are you watching Dark on Netflix? Have you
Ooh,
watched it?
I don't think I've watched that
If
one.
you like time travel, all right. So and the third season comes out tomorrow. If you're into time travel, you binge watch seasons 1 and 2, and get ready for season 3, because that,
No,
if you
go
like that
to
kind of thing, it will
Netflix.
dark. DARK on Netflix, and it's in German. You can watch the English dub. But anyway, I know what you're saying. Like, anytime you've got time travel there, I think there's like it could go wrong.
Right?
I
And it's like,
hope now
add it to my
it didn't go wrong.
list. Add it to my
But
list.
did you feel like, yes? Let me know how you like. Email me and let me know if you like it.
Will do. But yeah, I really loved it
Awesome.
because it's like the whole thing, like the whole beginning of this book, you know, it really just does everything it possibly can to draw you in. You know, you've got these two amazing, very strong-willed characters, you know, and you're getting tidbits about like, you know, her life, how her dad lost his job and everything else, but everybody else that, you know, their parents were working at this place, they're perfectly fine, and how she hates him, which for the life of me, I cannot remember anybody's names today. And
Skyler
Truman.
and Truman.
Truman.
Yeah.
And you know, and it just it's so nice because it's so seamlessly done. I'm gonna use the P word. It's like perfect. You know, that it gives you
Oh,
information that you need without it being like info dumping all of you all at once. You know, it's nice. I like it
thanks.
because it
Thanks.
just, you know, does step by step by step to draw you into the story. And then, you know, she gets this mysterious link and she looks through it. And then she, you know, has this, you know, holy crap moment. And then she's thinking her friends are punking her. And her friends are like, I don't have time for this. And it just, you know, goes on from there. And it's like, it's so done that by the time that you're, you know, 30 pages in, you're like, okay, so yeah, this is now my new best friend, and it has to go everywhere with me
Oh,
now until I'm done.
that's sweet. Thank you.
We were sitting in
Thank
traffic on
you.
the way home, and I'm like, okay, so we're just sitting here. It's at a dead stop. I'm just gonna sit here and read. So people start honking
Oh,
at
that's
me.
sweet.
So how did you come up with Truman and and Skylar? How did you come up with them? I mean, they're such great characters.
Yeah, I'm Skylar. Well, I don't know. I honestly, I think I kind of started with Truman. So I'm not going to say that Truman is anybody I've known. There's just kind of this picture that I have, a memory, and I kind of built on that to kind of build him. And I kind of knew who he was, and he's, you know, this kind of comes across as very pompous. He's overachieving. He can be annoying because he's very passionate and he wants to tell you what he thinks. And then I started thinking, well, so Skylar's got to be a foil for that. And so, you know, whereas he's always thinking about his future and he's always trying to make sure everything fits in the way he's got it planned out, I thought, so she needs to be more laid back. She's maybe hasn't, and almost purposefully hasn't thought about kind of too much about her life and about her future. She's, you know, and there's some insecurities I think she has that kind of play into why that is. But um, I just wanted to create a character that would grow by being challenged by somebody. If she had to look at him in a new and different way and kind of let him bring out some aspects of her personality that she hadn't seen or thought about or been brave enough to bring out, that's kind of what I wanted with her. But then I also wanted him to learn from her too, because clearly, he needs to lighten up a little bit.
Right.
So,
Right.
and I
Oh.
hope he does, you know. So, it was just trying to get that play and try, it's that kind of love to hate trope, and they're opposites. But I think it's important that they play off each other. In a way, they're so very much alike, though,
Mhm.
you
They
know.
are.
And the things that make them alike also really drive them crazy about each other too. So, which I think is true to life.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, you hit it. You did it. You did everything you wanted to do with it.
Thanks.
So, and I just
Aw,
noticed on
thank
the
you so much.
bottom of your bio on the back of the book it says you're in Cincinnati.
I am. Where are you?
I'm in Florida now, of course, but I'm from Ohio.
Okay.
I'm from Ohio. So,
Okay. Okay.
Miss Ohio.
And where in Ohio?
Worcester. I'm from Worcester. So, let's
Okay.
see,
All right.
Cincinnati. Cincinnati's what? South Ohio, right? Or is that
Yeah,
North
you're
Ohio? Yeah, South.
closer to
Yeah.
Cleveland.
It's like, yeah. It's like in the center.
Yeah.
I am in the center.
Gotcha. Okay.
and like dab smack in the middle of like
Awesome.
Amish country.
Oh, that's beautiful up there. My sister lives in Cleveland, so sometimes we'll take the long way and we'll drive through Amish country. That's beautiful.
Right. It's nice. It's so nice.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, it is.
if you had to choose a side story for one of the characters in this book, who would you choose?
You mean a story to take off in like a spin-off
Yeah,
direction
yeah.
or?
If you had to write another
Mm,
story from a side character, who would you choose?
yeah. I probably think I would do Harper because I always, she I'm not sure that she was quite done justice. She's kind of a spark for some things that happen, and I sometimes I think Skyler, from her perspective, would tend to look at her as maybe somebody who needs a little bit of saving, but I think she is strong on her own, and she deserves kind of her own story, and I think she'd probably have some amazing things to say, and cool things happen to her because I think she's got a cool personality. So maybe I'd take Harper in a different and see what follow her and see where she goes.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
See. Which character was the most challenging to write?
Probably Harper. She's a character, not to give too much away, but she's living with anxiety and depression, which I do, and it runs in my family, and I didn't even mean to write a character with those challenges when I was writing the book, and it kind of, not to get too precious about story writing, but sometimes things just kind of happen, or they fall into, you just start to follow a thread and it goes away a certain way. And when it started going that way, I think I took so many missteps. I wrote it wrong so often, and I kept having to ask people, my beta readers and my editor, for help in getting it a little better. And I'm still not sure that I like I said, I'm just not sure did it justice. I just found that the hardest because I wanted to. I just think it's important to do a character like that justice, and so that was hard.
Right.
You know.
Well, how different is the ARC to the finished copy? Like, was anything changed between the
Oh
two, or
no,
just typos and
no.
stuff like
Oh, I don't think too much has. I thought if you were going to
that?
ask like the original manuscript to the finished copy, it's like night and day. But
Yeah.
the arc, yeah, I think the arc is pretty true
Right.
to
Yes.
everything. So.
I've gotten a few of them where like they were like seriously early arcs where like by the time the finished
Oh,
copy came out and then the author found out that I had read the ARC, and like, no. Read this instead because like the last 100 pages are like completely different. And I'm like, you're killing me.
yeah.
You're killing
No,
me.
nothing huge has changed. No.
Which scene or chapter in your book was your favorite to write?
So, because I was doing this big rewrite, and I was kind of on a tight deadline, and I was just writing all the time and just thinking about this book, and I was getting really tired. And sometimes it's really funny the things that come out of your brain when you're really tired. And this chapter that came out during one of those times was when they're all hanging out at Donor Square or Boner Square, which is like this town square with a monument that's shaped like a giant like penis. And I just don't. I mean, it just kind of came out like, and there's a drone and a promposal involved, and all these kids are sitting around eating pizza. And the whole time I was writing, I was just exhausted. And so now, whenever I read it, I remember just that feeling of like, hey, I'm writing about a monument that's shaped like a big Catholic symbol, and
Hey,
I don't know. That was
yeah,
fun.
it's fun. That's all there is to it. What do you hope readers will take
Yeah.
away from the story?
Oh, I just think, oh, there's so much, but just, don't worry, don't worry. Put yourself out there, but things are going to turn out okay. I mean, that's easy to say as an older person, but And we make so many assumptions. We make so many assumptions about ourselves and about the people that are in our lives, and we make so many assumptions about what's going to happen and what our life's going to be like. And there's so many surprises that come in, and the people will surprise you, and different things will happen, and you just kind of have to go along for the ride. You have to drive a little, but go along, right? Does that make sense?
Go with the flow.
Just go with the flow. Steer a little, but not too much.
Right. So do you think that, since some of your books, have that hint of magical realism or science fiction, do you think you'll ever go full on out into either one of those genres?
I don't know. I'd love to, especially because and I don't mean to harp on this show that's coming out tomorrow. It's just like the third season. I'm really excited. If you do watch a show like Dark, the storytelling is so well done. It's a puzzle, and all the pieces just fit together so cool, and it's inspiring as a writer to want to try to do a story like that. And I think something like science fiction and something like with time travel fits perfectly into that kind of story. And so would I ever do it? I don't know, but it just kind of feel like I want to. I don't know. We'll see.
I think you could. And like, I would say, like, from a like a fantasy point of view, you could take like your background and like the music and stuff, and you could, I think you could really create like an entire magical system that's surrounded by music. That's like completely based on music.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's
awesome.
That is a good idea.
I give all the authors new ideas to come up with new books so I can read them.
And then we'll put you in the acknowledgments.
Yes, there you go. Couldn't have done it without you, Jessica.
Right. Exactly. No, I admire authors who write fantasy, and
I know. It's so hard.
Yeah, I know.
It's so hard, especially like long series. I don't know how these authors keep track of anything, because I mean, I've been talking to Lori Forrest, who wrote the Black Witch series, trying to help her out with stuff, and we're like constantly going back and forth. I'm like, this is going to be one of like the series that I'm going to be like, okay, you give me a name, I know who that person is, because that does not normally happen. I read a book, I go to the next book, and
Right.
I can't tell you anything that happened in the last book I just read. This book will not be like that, and I'm excited.
Yeah.
But with so vast as these fantasy worlds are, I could never do that.
Yeah, you kind of would need a spreadsheet, I think, to keep track of everybody and everything.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I'll take a wall. We'll just start, post-its everywhere.
Yes.
Draw everything out, because I would end up like somebody would be somewhere they're not supposed to be or something, and it would just somebody would catch it.
Yes.
It's like, no, that's not allowed.
Right.
So with, of course, COVID going on and everything, have you been able to pick up any new books to read? You've been reading.
Oh, yeah, I have a huge pile kind of behind my computer that I'm looking at, and I've been buying more. I just bought several books by Black authors for the Black Publishing Power Day that we had like last week. So I've got 3 or 4 books coming there. I just finished reading Frankly in Love by David Yoon, which was so wonderful. Now I usually read 2 or 3 books at once. So I'm reading Sarah Zar's Goodbye from Nowhere and Natasha Diaz's Color Me In. And there's just more books. There's so many great things coming out. And I would like to say that COVID has given me time to read more. But I just got a 10-page single-spaced editorial letter on my new book yesterday. I was happy for it because they like the story. They just have a lot of thoughts, which is great. But I'm about ready to have to go into that cave. And so that means my reading time becomes a little more telescoped. But I did get a chance to finish Frankly in Love, and I do want to finish these other 2 because, the delivery. Actually, I I go pick up curbside at my favorite at Joseph Beth, but then I also have some of them delivered. So it's like books coming in all the time. I'm going to be drowning in them pretty soon.
I'm surrounded by them in here, so I can fully understand that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what books are coming out that you can't wait to get? Or what did you order? See, now I'm curious.
I ordered. Oh, okay. Well, so Brandy Colbert's voting booth. I pre-ordered that.
Oh,
That's
I think
coming
I have
soon.
a here. See of that one to read. That one looks cute.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does. And then so How to Be Remy Cameron by like Gillian Winters. And then I saw he has another book coming out, which I heard is maybe even better. So I'm excited for that. And what else? Oh, my friend Kelly Kuhn, her did you read Grave Maidens? Her book Grave Maidens,
No, but I
the
haven't.
sequel War. Okay, so that's good. And the sequel War Maidens is coming out, so I'm looking forward to that. And I have a list. I have to go back and find my list. I try to keep a running list when I hear about a book I want to get. Those are the ones that are off the top of my head. Yeah.
And then like Netflix is releasing stuff that they've made. Curse comes out next month. Day before my birthday. That looks so good.
Yes.
I love all the fantasy stuff, but I love this book. So that is all of my questions for today. Okay. Guys, if you haven't pre-ordered this comes out next month on I think the 7th. No, the 14th. 4 days before my 14th, birthday.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys.
All right, happy birthday.
And I love this cover.
Thank you so much for having me.
Did you guys go through a lot of covers, or was this like happened and that's it?
Yeah, I saw the concept art. It didn't quite look like that, and then they showed me the cover, and I do love it. I don't mean to criticize at all. My only thought, I kept saying, Truman looks a little too. I thought he should look scruffier. You know, I just pictured him being a little more like messy hair and
right.
Well, I mean, he's preppy and uptight, but
she's got a lot of features. You know, like she's got like freckles and stuff like that, and then him, he just looks like you know, like he's got like nothing.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it came out the way it did.
Right.
I'm happy with it, but
he got out of bed, he got dressed, he shaved. So this is like before the 5 o'clock shadow sets in.
Yeah, I would have I was like, could you just tousle his hair a little or something? But it's fine. I love it, and I love the colors, and yeah, so I'm happy.
It's cute. I love like all the drawing. It's really neat. Love that.
Feels a little bit like the very first concept I saw was very kind of 80s romance novel, if you can picture that kind of that illustrative style. And they moved it up to this, it's more contemporary, but yeah, it still kind of has that feel. That's fun.
I wish it kind of would have been kind of neat if they could have pulled something from, you know, like the time, let's just show like, you know, the time travel aspect to it just a little bit would have been kind of interesting. Like maybe have them in the front and then like shadow them in the back, you know, being older or something.
Ooh. Yeah, that would have been cool.
Them together.
Maybe
like as a watermark.
Maybe there's a paperback.
Right? That would be kind of cool.
Be cool. Yeah, I like that idea.
So definitely, guys, pre-order this, get it. Is there anywhere that you are doing signed copies?
I'm trying to get with, so my local indie bookstore is Joseph Beth, and but I know they've all been going through, you know, with COVID and trying to run a store. So we haven't been able to coordinate yet, but I would like to do something like that. I'll get the word out if we can make that happen.
Make sure you check out her social media so you know where to grab a signed copy if that is your thing, because I know that is my thing. Signed copies are the bomb. And I'm so sad that this one decided to get stuck between my thigh and the car door.
Oh well. At least I thought your cat did it.
No, we have dogs and they're like proud in their little own place. But at least it's just the title page and the dedication page. I still have the story. So
good.
Yay.
Awesome. Yay. Well, thank you, Jessica. This was fun.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you.
Guys, make sure you check out this book. And of course, join us tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for our last author of this week, The Best Week That Never Happened. And stay tuned tomorrow as I will also, of course, list all of the authors that are coming on next month, because it is already July, and that feels very weird.
Mm-hmm.